forever rising cost of living still on discuss, and I still have Comrade Hope George here with us, and Ikimi Oganejabo Ikimi to talk about this. Before we left, we were already on the issue of price control, and I want to use this to go to you, sir. Ikimi, the issue of price control, can it work from the government angle? Because, you know, most times when I have to talk to different people on issues, the next thing you hear, when you think they would say what we could do, they always fall back to say the government has it all. It's all in their hand because of the system we operate in Nigeria. So can price control make things work? The price control,
from the history of price control board in Nigeria, it's not going to work. Now, in the 50s, we had a price control board for the Western region. Now, the Western, what was the purpose of this? The purpose of the the price board, price control board, was to avoid inflation and to make farmers comfortable. Government bought all the cocoa, all the cash crops from the farmers at a given price, at a controlled price, and then they now export. That was how it was done in the Western region before independence. Now, after independence, middlemen started profiteering. And when Yakubu Gowon came, he set up a price control board backed by a law. Now, this price control worked for some time, and it died off silently. Nobody dissolved it. It just went off silently. Naturally. Now, as at that time, Nigeria's naira, the reason is this: as at that time, Nigeria's naira was stronger than the dollar. Nigeria's naira was 75 kobo to a dollar. It was stronger. So Nigeria could afford to buy as many things they want to buy very cheap and then sell, even with the middlemen coming. So nobody was even talking about the price because the money was there. Now, when it died down gradually, when Udoji came, you see the policies of government. Udoji then was, whatever salary you are receiving now, you receive double. You receive double. That was Udoji. And this caused a lot of inflation in the system. And the board was already dying. There's nothing the board could do. So the board died on its own. Inflation started rising. Houses started, rent started increasing. Now, the government too was also wise. Delta State, Midwestern State government. They set up the Rent Control and Recovery of Premises Act, because one of the items was rent. They had to check. So what government did was, okay, this rent, we will put it in a law, Rent Control and Residential Premises Act, so that if your rent, you feel your rent is very high, you can go to court and ask court to determine the rent. The law is still in existence, but a lot of people do not know that there is a law like that. But that law I'm talking about is now so obsolete that because some of a flat was not up to 100 naira then, that is still what the law is still talking about. We have not amended these laws. We have not updated these laws. So in rent matters, we have this the rent control, and the law is there. And even as I talk to you now, a 3-bedroom flat, if a 3-bedroom flat says, oh, I'm taking 60,000 every month, I can go to court. The court I will go to is not the high court. It's the area customary court or the district court. For court to determine the rent, it can be determined. Now, that is for the rent. What about drugs? The medical drugs. You see, the medical drugs, what government ought to do instead of this board is in a civilized world, in all these powerful countries, what they do, they buy these drugs from these manufacturers and then they retail them. They sell it to retailers very cheap, eliminating middlemen. So many of the drugs we have today, you can go there and buy a Panadol today. They say it is 1 naira. Tomorrow, that same tomorrow, It's not that they have gone to the market. They say it's not 2 naira. How did it become 2 naira? They say that is the current price, because if we are going to buy, we are going to buy not in this old price, but the new price.
The new price.
So what they do, they say, many of these drug manufacturing companies, they buy this, they buy their products from abroad. The products they need, they use dollars to buy.
Exactly.
And the dollar is fluctuating. So if the dollar is 500 today and tomorrow it is 1,000, so it must reflect in the prices. Now, for agricultural goods, as far as I'm concerned, for agricultural goods, if government was planning, what government need to do is to encourage farmers. Because these farm products are coming from inside interior villages. There is a town in Asaba. When you are going to, I forgot. You see, the place is an interior place. I've forgotten the name. We recommended to government then, the Odwanga government, that they should make a road so that goods can be coming. This agricultural good can be coming very cheap. Can be coming from inside the interior to Asaba town. I don't know whether government did it. Now, so many of these goods, why these products are very, very high, is that these farmers sell this thing to middlemen. And middlemen now have to transport them to the town. Okay. And by the time it gets to the town, these agricultural products are already are on the high side.
Okay,
it has nothing to do with dollars.
Let me hold you on. Oh, it has something to do with dollar, but they keep telling us it's dollar.
No, that is what the layman tells you.
Okay.
The layman will tell you that.
All right, let me hold you on that. While he was talking, he talked about, he's been talking about the different ways government can make it work as against just putting price control. And just before he wrapped it up, he said the contribution of government to making these farm products available. And you also talked about the possibility of price control working. For agricultural product, is it possible for government to control what they have no input in? That's what I'm going to ask you, George.
Yes, it's very possible. If you listen to him very carefully. And lastly, make another suggestion. He said in a committee, and a recommendation was made, road. And when there is road, for the layman to come out of his creek or his community, for example, to bring product directly to Asaba, or you that goes there to buy, can access the village easily to buy your product. I think that already will help to reduce the price. That's a control, a contribution to the government has contributed by making sure that roads get to that place. Government again, need to help. You see, you are working here in DBS. You see most time, the announcement is there. The launching, Governor Okowa has given tractors. Governor Okowa has given farm equipment to our farmers to assist them in their farming. No matter the type of farming you do, they give you the facilities. Even as time to say government give you fertilizer, government giving the cassava stem, to encourage our farmers. By government doing that, automatically when they want to sell, it is expected for such farmers to also reduce their prices because they did not buy. Government expected, but who follows up to know if that is even done? That is why we say government can also come in. Okay. In the past, it gave us the history of this country, how prices. It did not work then because, like you said, there was so much money, and when money is there, nobody looks at the cost of things. We just go and buy. Compared to now, when Nigeria, the price of dollar and Nigerian naira, the difference is so high. That is why you see the layman hanging on everything to dollars. So government has different ways they can assist and make sure that these prices are regulated, and that we must begin to look at that, because you cannot be assisting farmer. The Farmers Association themselves is no longer helping matters the way it used to be. Comrade George, you've been close to the seat of government for a while now, so I'm going to ask you this question. We'll talk about government control. In Delta State, I've had the privilege of interviewing different people in the agro sector, and most of them are not even from this place. They are from the north
Actually, most of them are from the north. As for the other side, we've not had the privilege. And they said when they bring their products here, there is the body of organization that tells them, no, you cannot sell at that cost. You have to put it at this cost. This is an oil state. If you don't want to sell, drop your goods there, we will sell for you. The price just have to go up because of these
middlemen.
Okay, they are what you call the middlemen. But they call themselves associations. They inflate the price. Like we interviewed a rice farmer from the north. He said when he brings his product here, he must sell according to the price tag of this association. If he says anything lower than that, they will take his product for him and tell him to hold on. We will only give you money at the end of the day.
Yeah,
is there nothing the government can do to look into that?
I'm aware of what you are saying, and I mentioned it earlier when I started. The unions have not helped matter, and this union government can check, but because we are just overlooking them, you know, a lot of unions these days are not part of government. They play themselves into government. They come to government to participate in the electoral process, and because of that, when the government is in power, it tends to overlook some of the activities. You understand? And they take advantage of that because they have the government to oppress the common man. It is true. When you go to anywhere now, for example, you want to buy a cow. I went to buy a cow recently, and I was asked to pay for grand money. That was added to the price of the car. Who are you paying grand money to? I have come to buy. I am paying for grand money. And nobody is talking about that. Free money to, I don't know. The person does not have a car. He does not know how the car came in. But he is saying, I said, why will I pay this? But because I'm in a hurry, and everybody is always in a hurry, we don't want to bother to ask why we are paying such a amount. You know, if I'm buying the car for 300,000, for example, I'm paying on that 10,000 for grand money to who I don't know, not government, no receipt, nothing. The car now is already 310,000. So there are many situations of that. These people that bring their goods are asked to pay unnecessary money. After the long drive, police is on the road, different security agencies are on the road to collect. The youths are there on different taxation, this sticker, this paper, this and all that. At the end of the day, this whole thing is built on that small product that we're supposed to, maybe yam, for example, that's supposed to cost 500 naira. By the time the person that owns the product add other money, maybe the yam will not be sold for 1,200. This is artificial increment because government is paying negligence to these things. So government has a role to play. The local government especially has to look at what is happening. The market master, market mistress these days are not interested in what happened, provided you service them, you pay your...
Let me ask, Ikimi, is it not the responsibility of the local government to make farming work in each of their local communities?
I don't think local government, because I speak as a lawyer.
Yes.
Because if you look at the laws, the powers of the local government, what the local government, farming is not even part of it. I think it is more of the community. Community should encourage their people. Government should encourage community to, you know, how do the government encourage? Government can encourage.
There's an agricultural department in the...
There can be. There is an agricultural department, but their aims, their work, their function has nothing to do with maintaining of farms or encouraging farms.
Okay.
But as far as I'm concerned, government should encourage farmers. How do government encourage farmers? Giving them loan, assisting them. Exactly. You see, and then making provisions for good roads for them. Because a farmer will have many of these things they farm in the villages, in the interior, they are perishable goods. Before they actually come out, half of them are gone, are rotting. And then when they come out with these goods, then you now have to meet middlemen who will now escalate the prices. So in civilized world, what they do, government assists them and buy these products from them and take it to the market. And sell at government controlled price.
Okay.
So that is what government does. But here, the government too, if the government wants to begin to do that and buy these things too, you see the kind of people we are here. The man who is given this contract, this job to go and buy these things and begin to sell at government control price, we buy them and begin to sell for himself and give government a peanut. That is the problem.
Sorry for another day.
So that is the problem. That is just the problem with us.
Okay, Ikimi, we will give you the signal. I'd like to say thank you so much for your time. Ogene Jabo Ikimi is the Executive Director, Center for the Vulnerable and Underprivileged. We appreciate you for coming, sir.
Thank you very much.
And also we had on set with us, still having on set with us, Comrade Dr. Hope George, JP, FSM, a Fellow of Strategic Management, the former SSA to the Governor on Youth Development. He's presently the SSA to the Governor on Political Affairs. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Morning Watch continues on Delta Rainbow Television. Please don't go nowhere, don't touch the dial.